Hello everybody. Hey, today I wanted to share with you some insights that came actually from one of our ripple effect meetings, which was it's a men's meeting, and it's about empowering men and bringing men to the realization of the and dare I say it, the feminine side of them. And even I think it's probably more so balancing the masculine and the feminine side of men too, by inviting them into a space where they can be open and vulnerable, which leads on to what I want to talk today, which is about vulnerability. So one of our leaders wanted to bring the topic to the meeting, and the meeting topic was, can vulnerability and confidence exist in the same space, or is it vulnerability versus confidence? Now, we had some really beautiful conversations that were sitting around that, and what was becoming apparent is that when I see it from the perspective of vulnerability versus confidence, then vulnerability is considered a weakness, because then it's a chink in my armor, and then others can then, in a sense, attack me or see that I have a weakness there and use that to their advantage. So I need to show that I'm confident by not showing vulnerability. So when you look at it versus, then it is quite disempowering, and there's a sense of inauthenticity, because I'm not being true to myself, because I'm not showing my full vulnerability. I'm going to create a facade. And the facade really then becomes this facade of confidence. Interesting. The other side of the penny then showed that when I felt confident that I could be vulnerable, what that then showed was a sense of strength. Now, and what it actually started to do within some of the conversations that we were having was it started to gain a greater sense of respect from others, because you showed that vulnerability, and it actually connected that person to another, because of the vulnerability that exists within me is the same that exists within you. What we also then expanded on to was that for me to feel confident to be vulnerable in a space, I need to trust the person that I'm going to be vulnerable to, or trust the group. And the ripple effect was a beautiful group for that. And what then came to my mind as that was being shared, and from my own experiences, is that I can be confidently vulnerable with somebody that I trust, which then illustrated to me that maybe confidence, vulnerability, and trust are the three elements that actually promote intimacy. And this is something that I've found really, really significant within my life as a person, my life as a coach, my life as a nurse, that when people trust the space they have with me, they feel more confident in being vulnerable. And this is an intimate space. And sometimes when we look at intimacy, we get mixed up with sexual intimacy. We think that that's intimacy. When in actual fact, we have intimate conversations with people every day. We share intimate moments with people. Now, as much as this is wonderful to experience with others, I will always encourage people to bring it back to self. And there was another member of our group who then also said, look, I can be vulnerable with others, that's quite easy, but can I be vulnerable with my own vulnerability? Now that really challenged him, and he's getting better at it because now he's aware of it. And what this comment then reminded me of was a concept called holding space. Now we get this from a nursing perspective. Well, I've got it from a nursing perspective. A lot of people do this just through being empaths and being caring and having compassion for people. But this concept of holding space. So if somebody's open and vulnerable with me and it promotes this intimacy, I hold their space. And as I'm holding their space, they can then be truer to themselves and then truer to the interaction that I'm having with them. So if I can hold space for others, which promotes intimacy, which is vulnerability, confidence, and trust, can I hold space for myself? And this is what this member was pointing to. Can I be vulnerable with my own vulnerability, or do I need to try and get away from it, or do I need to find somebody else who I can be vulnerable with? Now, this also comes back to a concept that we've spoken about called rupture and repair, that if I have a rupture and then I seek someone else out for the repair promotes trust. And it's wonderful that we have these relationships where I can rupture and then I can speak to somebody and they can repair that. I'll then always bring it back to self as that, well, if you have a rupture, can you also repair your own rupture? Because when you start to repair your own ruptures, you then have a greater sense of trust within self. Can I hold my own space as I rupture? So I can then start to repair, which then promotes that trust. And see how now I'm actually promoting intimacy with me. Now that was a key learning for me, because I've always sought out intimacy with others, whether it be through particular mediums, but then started to realise, well, hang on, this intimacy that I seek with others is more so related to the intimacy that I'm seeking with myself. And that's why I love the space that I exist within at the moment. I get to have these really beautiful, intimate conversations, intimate spaces, intimate interactions that just fill my heart. But what they also are reminding me of is that I can do this with myself, and that is the space that I am ultimately seeking for, searching for, and place myself in each and every day. Now, if I'm being intimate with myself, that means that I can also sit with my own discomfort, sit with my own ruptures, sit with my own negative experiences, my own negative emotions, my own negative thoughts, be present with it and go, wow, this is really interesting, that this is what's arising for me at this moment. So it was a beautiful opportunity to sit with a group of men in a vulnerable, intimate space that had trust, and they were confident to then share themselves in that too. And this is something that I'd like to encourage other men to be a part of. And with the ripple effect, what we will start to be doing is expanding that, and to keep an eye out for how we're going to do that. And I'm just in some conversations with some people at the moment in how best we can do that, and how best we can serve our local community, our local men, but also how we can serve humanity with our brothers and our sisters in becoming more aware of balancing the masculine and the feminine energies within each person. And this isn't just about men. It's a divine masculine and divine feminine, and bringing it together to create divine union. That's a really, really powerful space. So, to recap, for me to feel confident to be vulnerable with others, I need to trust the space in which is being held by either myself or others. That space is actually a space of intimacy. And if I can be intimate with others, I can also be intimate with myself, and that is the most important thing within this process. Self-intimacy. Powerful stuff. Cool. I hope you got some value out of that. And I'll keep you up to date in relation to what's happening with the ripple effect. So thank you.